All right, so here's a video for you guys from prepared by the University of Sheffield.
During the sort of face-to-face interview, which will be competency-based, they will get asked questions where they'll be able to demonstrate where they have perhaps in the past shown how driven they've been to achieve a goal that they've set themselves or have been set. So we recommend it's always good to try and think of examples before starting any application process to demonstrate one of these skills such as drive.
The skill that I look for is relationship building. In any role, in any organisation, you're going to have to be able to talk to people, to be able to negotiate, to get what you want. On any level of leadership or your manager, you'll have to be able to talk to them in a polite manner to be able to build that relationship.
A really simple one is just to be a people person. A lot of people think when they're approaching a big group like Adidas, this is what they want to hear, so they get a little bit nervous and a little bit panicky, but it's really a case of being yourself, and as much as you can convey your personality in an interview process, you're going to stand a great chance of getting into the group.
Teamwork would be another skill that we look for, and that could be leading a team at work, it could be in sports or social activities, at university it could be getting involved in clubs or societies, or even just study groups, and demonstrating the role that you played in that team and how you really made an impact on that team as well.
So one of the other abilities that we look for is the ability to be a leader and show leadership skills. So to be a motivator, to motivate groups of people and to lead by example. So to show people how you do it and that they follow your example.
We're looking for candidates who are flexible and who can adapt to change quickly.
For me, another key skill that's paramount in everybody that we recruit is service. And that service both internally to, I guess, colleagues or internal customers, however you want to call them, but also caring deeply about our external customers as well. So it's the same skill, if you like, caring passionately about delivering outstanding service to people.
It's important that people have problem-solving skills. The placements being, 6 months, there isn't that much time to really get to the crux of whatever your project is, work out what the problems are, and kind of form a plan of attack. And so someone with good analytical skills, good problem-solving skills, would be more likely to do that.
So innovation, problem-solving, achieving business results, all require creative thought and innovation, so it's a key skill that we look for.
We look for someone outgoing, and because we can teach people technical skills, we invest a lot in sending people away to college, sending them on training things, but you can't teach someone personality, so make sure when you come along to a recruitment event, really let people see your personality.
All right, so that's the broad overview of skill types, okay, sought by top companies. Okay, so these are the general attributes or qualities that a typical employer would be looking for in the potential employees. So these will be things that employers or recruiters will be looking for in the job candidates. Okay, so the questions would reflect that as well. Okay, so the questions that your interviewer will be asking you will have to do with your education. Okay, with your work experience, okay, whether you can do the job that they have advertised, whether you can do the job successfully or not. They will try to basically gauge you in a sense, okay, measure your ability, whether you can do that or not, okay, or whether you are a good fit for the company. Okay, so whether you're a good fit for the job position and also for the company, and if you will be interviewing with like a department, like a different teams, all right, so are you a good fit within the team or not? So they'll be looking for these things during the job interview. Okay, all right, so some questions will have to do with your motivation, how motivated you are in basically doing the job, okay, as well as like your personality type. Okay, they'll be asking general questions to get as much information from you to see whether you are the best candidate or not. Okay, so that's what that's what will go in a typical job interview. Okay, so if you are able to satisfy the requirements or things there that the employers are looking for, then your chances of being hired would be more. Okay, of course you'll be competing with other people to get that job position. Okay, so your interviewer will be asking you a bunch of questions. Okay, so how will you be answering the questions? Okay, so the general recommendation for you guys is do not give like one sentence answers. All right, so don't let your answer be very short. All right, try to expand on your answer using like examples. Okay, you have reasons. Put reasons as well. So one of the things that you've learned in the GETS classes was if you were to expand on the paragraph, okay? So you would use like examples, you would use reasons, right? Same thing here, okay? Rather than letting your sentence or your answer be like a short sentence, try to expand on it, okay? Show your accomplishment, show your job, like where the relevant experience with regards to what the question is asking for. Okay, so don't let your basically response be very short, in other words. Okay, so oftentimes, even if the question is very direct, okay, do not wait for any follow-up question. Okay, so try to include some extra information for that question itself. So normally, if you don't answer comprehensively, then your interview will will do follow-up question for that previous question. Okay, if possible, if you have information, try to answer more comprehensively. All right. Okay, so sometimes you will have gaps in your in your resume or in your CV. Okay, this can be due to, let's say, some issue with your life, okay, family problems, or financial crisis, all right? Even like after you graduate, like after you have worked for, let's say, 5-6 years, there could be gaps where you could not really professionally continue your career, okay? At that time, if you are applying for a new position, and if if your interviewer would kind of like ask you a question about the gap, okay? So try to bring about something positive. Okay, don't just say, okay, I had, like a financial problem, or I had like a family problem, or I had like a health problem. Okay, try to bring about something positive out of it. So you may have like done some kind of training, or you may have done some other things during that gap. So let's say you took a year off. Okay, what did you do during that year off? Okay, it certainly it was kind of hard for you to do nothing, right? So try to show how were you useful. What were you doing? Okay, you could have been doing something. Let's say these days, taking online classes it's pretty popular, right? You can take like online classes in in websites like FutureLearn, edX, or you can even take like professional courses from Harvard, MIT, okay, without actually going to, let's say, the United States. Okay, you can take these classes from Nepal. All right, so you can reflect these things in your resume, or if asked during the interview, you can say, I was doing this, although I had this issue, and because of that issue, I was not able to continue with my work or with my education. All right, so at the end of the day, for any question, regardless, try to bring about positive aspect through your answering. All right. Otherwise, if you just leave it to that, then it will kind of like show a little, either like you're not motivated enough, right? In that case, they may like see you like differently in a sense. Okay. So always try to highlight your positive aspect in job interview questions, regardless. Okay, so let's kind of like briefly go through what would be like a, like appropriate, like a dress code, like your tone, and few tips with regards to your interview day. Okay, so you have been selected for your application has been selected, okay? So you have to go to your interview, okay? So we'll be kind of briefly covering what should you be doing during the interview day. Okay, so first of all, when you meet your recruiter or the potential employer, okay, give like a positive vibe, okay? Smile is a good way. Don't laugh, just smile, all right? And give it like a firm handshake. If you're like a female, or if you're a male, and if your recruiter is like a female, your handshake can be firm, yet not like very firm, right? So make a good judgment about like handshake as well. Normally, when we talk about like a professional situation, your handshake should not be lousy. Okay, it's like not barely touching. All right, when you shake your hand, make sure it's like a little firm. All right, and also like be confident in your speech. Okay, so for that you might need to practice. All right, so when you greet, like from the first impression, you can give the right and positive impression to your potential employer. Okay, so appear confident, okay, in person, as well as appear confident in speech as well, how you speak. Okay, for looking confident, dressing well can help. Okay, because that's first impression. All right, we'll be talking about what you should wear and so on in the next couple of slides. Okay, so basically what they want to see, okay, and what they want to hear, give them. Okay, so appear confident and sound confident. Okay, so let's watch another video. This is about what to wear. Okay, so normally for job interview, because this is a formal situation, so your potential employer would expect you to wear something formal. Okay, so let's look at what would be the formal or appropriate dress code for male as well as females for job interviews.
You wear clothes that are appropriate for every different occasion. For example, you wouldn't wear the same clothes to an interview that you would wear to a party or going out clubbing. If you are going for an interview, you need to give the employer or admissions tutor the message that you are professional and capable. You need to get your outfit right. This usually means something fairly formal but comfortable, as it could be a long day. Invest in a smart suit that will last for years, or for men, smart trousers with a shirt and tie. Women could opt for a dress and jacket. Go for plain designs, not lots of bright, colourful patterns. Don't wear clothes that are too revealing or ill-fitting, and don't show your underwear. Employers and admissions tutors don't want to see those boxers or bra straps. Wear smart shoes and make sure they are clean. Make sure you freshen up before the interview and reapply makeup if you wear it, but don't overdo it. Brush your teeth and clean your fingernails. Be restrained with your accessories. Avoid gaudy jewellery and leave the novelty tie at home. Don't overpower the interviewer with aftershave or perfume. Try to keep it subtle. Cover up your tattoos and body piercings, apart from earrings. You may be proud of them, but you don't want the interviewer translating the tattoos up your arm while you're trying to make a point. If an employer invites you for an informal interview, they may suggest you dress smart casual. But what does this really mean? Go too casual and they may think you're not bothered. Overdress and you'll feel uncomfortable. Women should wear a dress, skirt or trousers, and a plain jumper or shirt and cardigan. Try to keep the jewellery fairly simple. Men should wear trousers and a clean shirt. It can be open-necked, but only the top button. Employers don't want to see too much of what's underneath. Wear a plain jumper. Avoid wearing jeans, t-shirts or hoodies. Wear shoes, not trainers, and make sure they're clean. If you need a top layer, a fairly smart jacket or coat should do it. Make sure everything is clean and pressed. Video interviews are becoming increasingly popular with employers, but what should you wear for them? We suggest that you treat video interviews in exactly the same way as any other interview. Avoid dazzling the camera by wearing brilliant white or bright colours, small stripes or busy patterns. Dress smartly and try to use solid, plain colours. Finally, for all types of interview, plan your outfit beforehand so your clothes are washed and pressed and there's no last-minute rush. Try out your clothes before the day to check the overall effect and comfort level. You don't want to be distracted by realising one of your buttons is missing or what you're wearing feels tight. Remember, you want the interviewer to be listening to what you are saying, not critiquing what you are wearing.
All right, so make sure you check your clothes beforehand, okay, in case it needs to be washed or, you need to arrange something else. You don't want to be like in the, you already be in the state of anxiety in a sense, okay? We talked about the interview nerves, right? So you don't want to increase it further, okay? You want to like make it, like have everything under control in a sense, okay? So preparing or planning beforehand actually, helps keeping your nerves calm to a certain degree, all right? All right, so you saw a few like tips about clothing, right? So what to wear. So in the video, it kind of talks about like a formal wear. So normally when you go to like a companies like the office, okay, for interview, you would wear business formal attire, right? So sometimes your recruiter may ask you to, let's say, for a lunch, where they would arrange your interview at the same place, like in like a cafe. Okay, at that time, the video says you don't have to wear like overtly formal clothes. Okay, at that time, business casual would do. Okay, for men, it's like a pant shirt, right? A polished shoe. Okay, so female, it would be similar. Okay, so what's the female clothes? The appropriate female clothes. Okay, however, don't wear like any informal clothes. All right. Okay, and for online interviews, so normally for big businesses these days, like they would have like a first interview as like online interview, especially for companies that are accepting candidates from, let's say, different geographical places. Okay, so at that time, make sure your audio is good. Okay, your interviewer is able to hear you just fine, as well as be wary of your background. Okay, try to make it clean if it's your room, right? And with regards to the clothes, make sure it has like some contrast to the background as well. Same thing we talked about during the presentation, the midterm presentation, right? For those of you who did the presentation, I think I gave you some tips for that as well. So similar thing goes here. Okay, so let's look at some of the tips for how to basically conduct yourself during your job interview. Okay, so oftentimes we are filled with this nervousness, this anxiety during our job interview. Okay, we don't know what will happen, what type of questions will be asked, whether we'll get the job or not. Okay, perhaps like that's the job that you have been waiting for. Okay, that's like a dream job. So your nerves, your anxiety is at top. Okay, at that time you'll have to consciously breathe. Okay, yeah, you might have to remind yourself to breathe. So breathe like deeply, breathe slowly. Okay, and try to, like if you're talking, try to slow down your pace. Okay, and also be wary of your tone, speech tone. Okay, don't keep it too high or don't make it too low. All right, so speak as if you're talking to your friend. Okay, that might help you. And always breathe. Okay, oftentimes when we are in a nervous situation, our breathing becomes kind of like skewed or irregular. All right, at that time you will have to consciously take effort to calm yourself. All right, so and breathing really helps. All right, and I think some of you may have used it for your presentation as well. Okay, so again, if it helps, try to think that you're talking to like somebody, like your friend or your colleague. All right, that might help. Also, like be respectful, of course. Okay, just mean when I say pretend or imagine that you're talking to somebody you know. Just maintain that sense of respectfulness with your potential employer, okay? Because they may not like if you become too informal during the job interview, okay? Later on, whatever happens, when you get the job, okay, that's the different thing. But you're trying to get a job, so always express your professional side, okay? That also means do not use slangs or jargons, all right? And also limit your like words like okay, right? So we may tend to overdo it, but take the conscious effort in controlling this. Like control your ers, ums during your speech. Okay, and also use like short pauses. I mentioned it before. Short pauses really helps in maintaining your calmness. Okay, because oftentimes when we are nervous, we tend to speak very fast. Okay, we may kind of like know it, but we may not be able to help or control ourselves. So give a short pause, not long pause, just a short pause, then go to next point. It's just like putting that period or full stop in your sentence. So when you're writing your paragraph, if there is no full stop or period, for someone who is reading your writing, it'll be very difficult to understand what you said. Okay, they may get the general meaning, but it'll not be a pleasant one to read. Same thing here. Give a short pause between your thoughts or in your sentence in a sense. Okay, that will help. That will also help in persuasiveness. Okay, give some time for your audience to basically reflect back on what you just said or digest what you said, the words. Okay, and for those of you with not strong English, okay, it's okay if you speak a little slowly. However, don't be very slow. All right? So when you're speaking, try to enunciate words. Enunciate means try to pronounce words clearly. Okay? Even if you have to speak a little slowly. All right? So that will help for foreign speakers or English who's speakers whose English is their second or third language. Okay, and always and also try to practice on like a common interview questions beforehand. Okay, see how you answer. Look, you can rehearse it or you can practice it beforehand, like in front of your mirror, or if you want to, you can record yourself. Okay, and replay the video or audio. Okay, if you don't have video access, you can record your audio and basically play it again to review and try to see what things needs to be improved there. All right, I'm kind of taking example of your midterm presentation because that's something you did recently. And for those of you who actually made your presentation video, I'm assuming that you actually re-recorded several times. The first couple of times when you recorded it, you kind of went back and reviewed your video. Okay, you may not have liked a few things in that the initial videos. Then you corrected on those things, and that's how you improved on your final video, right? Kind of same thing here. Practice. Without practice, you may get nervous during the interview because the interviewer will ask something, and your mind just freezes. Don't know. Words are not coming in your mind. But if you have already practiced, then it'll be like you can, with the limited, even if your memory is not that good, even with that limited memory, you could basically recite from your whatever you practice on beforehand. Okay, so preparation or practice is very important for job interview as well. Don't think that because you have, let's say, 5 years or 10 years of job experience, or you have this PhD or master's degree, that you don't need to prepare. Okay, because job interview is not something that you would do every month or every day. When you start working, you would do it like not that often, right? So make sure you practice on it beforehand. Okay, so let's look at some successful interview tips from professional recruiters.
I think once you get to the interview stage, you've already sort of shown us that you've got, the skills and background in order to either be on the course or do the job. Interview really is an opportunity for you to show that you're genuine, that you're passionate, you're enthusiastic, and those are things you really can't get across on paper. So when you're preparing for your interview, have a think about the things that you can exhibit in person that you can't articulate that way.
Well, I think first and foremost, it's absolutely crucial that you be yourself. There can be a great temptation to try and tell us what you think we want to hear, and that doesn't work.
Be yourself, because if you put on a bit of an act, that often comes through in an interview. And if you're being yourself, it's much easier to kind of build rapport with whoever you're interviewing as well.
Just focus on the basics. So what I mean by that is kind of in terms of first impressions, because they do really last. So make sure that you are dressed to impress. Always err on the side of caution for an interview.
Dress smart, give yourself a good impression. Shirt and tie, smart business dress, those kind of things. If you're not entirely sure what you should wear, don't be afraid to ask the person who's coordinating the recruitment process.
Need to really make good eye contact with the people who are interviewing you, and you really need to run with any questions. So that means that if they ask you a question, you don't give kind of a 1 or a 2 word answer. You give the full answer and then push that answer a little bit further. So take it back to the people that are interviewing you. So in that way, you're showing that you're kind of engaged with the topic.
Being passionate. It is a thing that certainly in a graduate recruitment market can make graduates stand out, and something organisations are absolutely looking for.
We don't want people who can just recite things that they've read. We want people that have a passion or a connection to what they understand the company is.
Demonstrating you have a personality that will fit well into our team, because that's the most important thing, because we're putting teams of people together and we're working in a really stressful environment. Personality is just so key.
Well, one of the most important things is making sure you do the preparation.
Preparation, know the market, know the industry, know the company, and know the job that you're applying for.
It's really important that you have some idea of the institutions to which you've applied. If you applied to the University of Sheffield, that's fantastic. But if you're applying to any medical school, you should know something about that school and about its course.
Prepare, prepare, prepare. You cannot do enough preparation. And in interviewing people, it's the thing that lets them down the most. If you're going for a job interview, so you've managed to get through the application stage, you're through that gate, you've got another gate to get through. Really high competition. Employers these days are very choosy. If somebody doesn't meet the criteria, they're not a fit, they will not appoint them. So you really need to understand the role and the organisation, sit with the job description, the person spec, make yourself lots of notes about how you meet it, try to think of some really good questions and research the company so that when you go for the interview, you can evidence that you know a little bit about it. So you might say, oh, I noticed on your website, or I read a press article, something that just gives you that edge.
Be familiar with your application form or CV. Most people who go to an interview or are interviewing you will have read that and be familiar with it. So be prepared to elaborate on the stories, further develop them, and make sure that they're truthful.
Don't lie. You'd be surprised the amount of people who put things in their application that kind of unravels quite quickly at interview. And you will be found out. So just, stick to the truth, be honest and be personable.
There's nothing worse in an interview than somebody trying to wing an answer. If you're working on a big piece of machinery like a rolling mill and you try and fumble your way through solving an issue, then there's going to be big problems.
But for the really kind of sort of obvious questions, like why do you want to apply for the job? Why have you applied? What's your understanding of this? Like you should know that really well, and you should have practiced speaking about it beforehand. So just get a friend or a brother or whoever to sit down, ask a few of the questions that you think might come up, and practice saying it to them, so that you just feel so much more confident when you actually go in on the day.
Try not to let nerves get the better of you. I think everybody appreciates that interviews can be really nerve-wracking, but there are certain things that you can do to try and work on those nerves beforehand, and that's really down to preparation and practice.
Practice as well. Get your friends or family members to ask you interview questions and do a bit of practice beforehand, so you're kind of ready on the day and you can show that you're enthusiastic and you really want to work there, and that comes across.
If you are challenged by a particular question, you don't understand something, you need it repeating, ask for that to be the case, and make sure you're providing sufficient depth, to your answers.
One tip I've got for people who are doing interviews is make sure your answers aren't too long. Bear in mind that the people interviewing you have been sat there all day, or they're going to after they finish with you. So entertain them a bit. Tell them something they didn't know.
Use the STAR technique when you're forming your interview questions and answers. When I ask you a question, think about the situation, the task, the action, and the result. If you form your answers like that, the interviewer will get everything that they need from what you're saying, and they won't need to ask you as many follow-up questions.
Really think about against each essential criteria on the person spec, how you could evidence it, but really actually write down what a STAR scenario would be. So what was the situation? What was the task that you specifically were asked to do? What did you do? But always be able to think of results.
Do your best. All you can do is your best. So aim for that, aim for your best, and then you don't have to worry, you don't have to get too nervous. Just do your best, and then you can leave the room thinking, yeah, I did what I could, and if I get it, great. If I don't, there'll be another opportunity.
All right, so those are the great advices for you guys. So let me recap a few advices here. So in your application and in your job interview, do not lie, okay? Even if you, get a job, let's say by lying, you may not be able to do the job, okay? So consequently, you may be fired, like after you've been in the work for, let's say, a few days or a few weeks, okay? So it's not a good idea to, fake or lie in your application or interview, okay? So be yourself, okay? Let your personality come out, all right? And also prepare beforehand, very important, okay? The more prepared you are, the less nervous you will be during the job interview, okay? Next advice is eye contact. So along with your body language, okay, your tone, eye contact actually exudes or shows your confidence, okay? So don't look down, don't be looking somewhere else. When you're talking to the person, give a good eye contact, okay? That also helps establish that rapport we talk about, that sense of connection. Okay, just imagine you are the interviewer and you're interviewing somebody else, and that person is not giving you eye contact for whatever reason it may be. Okay, so you would feel a little off about that interview experience. Okay, so consequently, you may not even give that candidate the job opportunity. All right, so whatever you expect as an employer, now you are the employee-seeking candidate, so do that. Fulfill those requirements. Okay, so another advice, I think that was not mentioned during in the video, would be sometimes we make mistakes. Mistakes can happen. Okay, you at the interviewer asks a question, and you're not able to answer it successfully, or you kind of forget. Nothing comes into your mind at that time. So if that happens, just excuse yourself. Okay, with some politely, of course. Okay, then proceed to next, another question from your interviewer. Don't let that one question be a big hurdle to you. Okay, just tell yourself, okay, you have other questions to answer from your that potential employer, whoever's recruiting you. Okay, even if you fail or make mistake on one question, you would have several other questions to basically get back up and prove yourself. All right, and one advice given by one of the recruiters here would be have a positive attitude, okay, for that job interview. Don't make it like a do or die situation where if you don't get the job, your life will be ruined. Don't have that attitude, okay, because it's like playing a game. If you're playing a game, the chances of winning and chances of losing is there, okay. That doesn't if you have a good attitude, then you'll enjoy the game, playing that game. Kind of same thing here, okay? When you're going for a job interview, have a positive outlook. If you get a job, that's fine, great. If you don't get a job, there'll be other opportunities, other interviews that you can do. And above all, you will get some experience, through answering the questions. So next time you are, giving your job interview, if similar questions come up, then you can answer those questions more successfully. Right? So always have a positive outlook. And also don't let your answers be very long. Some people tend to just go on and on and on. Okay? So don't let your answers be very short, like one-line answer, and don't let your answer be very long as well. Okay? Because for any job interview date, the recruiter will be interviewing several other people. Okay? So be mindful of that. Okay, and also one of the recruiter or the person mentioned about STAR technique while answering. Okay, we'll be going in detail about that. Okay, you can use that technique to answer any job interview question. Okay, so in the STAR technique, you will create the situation first or give the pretext. Okay, then you will mention about the task that you are That's part of the job. Okay, then you'll mention about what actions or what activities did you do or were you required to do. Okay, and then at the end you will highlight your accomplishment or result. Okay, that's basically it. 4 steps, and that would make your answer more comprehensive.